This is a Zeblaze Thor 4, a smartwatch with a Super AMOLED display and some actually pretty decent specifications. So let's get on with the full review and see what this watch has got. So first, talking about the build quality of the watch. The watch body is made of metal. Actually, it kind of feels like ceramic even though it's not. It is made of metal and it feels pretty good. But that is probably the only good part of the watch. Well, okay, so the band is actually pretty nice too. It's pretty nice rubber. It's not the best, but it's pretty decent. But the reason why I say that it's the only nice part of the watch is because of the size of the smartwatch. Look how thick it is. It's thicker than my smartphone, which is actually pretty sad. And don't forget that my smartphone actually has a case on already. So that's how thick this smartwatch is. It's at least, no, it's definitely over 1 centimeter thick. And if you're a small person like me, this is going to be a very, it's going to look very unwieldy on your wrist. You know, if you wear it like that, it's going to be massive, it's going to be thick, and it's going to feel pretty uncomfortable on your wrist also, which is sad. But if you have big wrists, then this really should not be a problem for you at all. So it's actually pretty good. And talking about the rest of the build quality, you have your 2 buttons here with actually a remote camera, which is actually pretty sick. And on the bottom, you have your heart rate sensor and your charging pins. The biggest downside of the smartwatch here is that it is not waterproof, which is probably the worst part of the smartwatch. It's not waterproof, which means you cannot take it in swimming with you. And most importantly, when you wash your hands, you have to be careful to make sure you don't get the smartwatch wet, or you're going to spoil a perfectly good, over $100 smartwatch, which is probably the worst part of the smartwatch. Next, we talk about the display here. And the display here, it is a Super AMOLED display, fairly high resolution, not super high resolution, but still. I think this is one of the best smartwatch displays I've seen ever, period. Like, I've seen LCD smartwatches, I've seen, transflexive displays, but none of them match up to a Super AMOLED display like this. Just look at how vibrant and deep the colors are on a smartwatch. Just look at how good it is. It looks so amazing. The colors look so good. I'm just so impressed with the display in the smartwatch. And the other good thing is that it's actually a very responsive smartwatch as well. The touchscreen is very responsive, so that's actually very, very nice. And I really have no complaints about the display on the smartwatch here. Unfortunately, as we keep on going in the smartwatch, it actually gets worse and worse. And the part I want to talk about here is the battery life. I was able to get around 7 hours of battery life from the smartwatch, which honestly is horrible because a smartwatch has to have at least 1 day of battery life. If it doesn't have 1 day of battery life, it's pretty much useless because no one takes their smartwatch off to go charge it or anything, because that's stupid. And that's the biggest problem I have with the Zeblaze Thor 4. Battery life is bad. It's 7 hours, and that's not even using it that intensively, right? I'm not, running 24/7 with the GPS on or whatever. However, if you want to use it for more than 7 hours, you have to put it to power saving mode. Otherwise, it will not get very good battery life. So it's honestly pretty bad, the battery life here. The smartwatch here comes with Android 7.0, as you can see right there, which is actually pretty sick. And as you can see, it is a Nougat smartwatch, which is very, very nice. Now, how do I go back? Like this. And so it's full Android. As you can see, as I go back, you'll see that you can actually look at, like there's a full browser on the smartwatch. And I don't understand why, who would use a browser on a 1-inch display? That's just stupid, right? If you want to use a heart rate monitor, fitness, weather, I understand, but a browser? What? Okay, here, let's go. Wow, look how easy it is to use this smartwatch. You can, wow, I can go to Google on the smartwatch and it's going to be great. Wow, it's great. So, okay, yeah, I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, a browser on a smartwatch is dumb. Absolutely stupid. Messaging, phone, whatever, fine, contacts, okay, I can accept that. So we'll ignore the software part and just go on to what a smartwatch is supposed to do, track your steps, take your heart rate and stuff like that. And with that, I'm going to bring in my smartphone with all the data I have there. The Wii Watch is the smartwatch companion app to the Zeblaze Thor 4. And to be honest, I'm not sure why they called it Wii Watch. I thought they would call it at least something like Zeblaze Watch or Thor Watch or something like that. But anyway, so as you can see, it tells you the battery life, which is very useful considering battery life drains super duper fast on this. And then the main part of this app is the health part, right? You can look at your health, your steps, your calories burned, your kilometers walked, 13 minutes, your beats per minute, and stuff like that. So we'll tap on that and look at what we have here. And you can see that it does record, sports, your current steps, you know, it basically does what a regular smartwatch will do, your heart rate, and you can set, you know, different things like running or cycling and stuff like that. So that's actually pretty decent. The one place that I'm not sure why I cannot find it, but I cannot find a place to look at historical data. So that's probably one of the worst things that I don't like. You cannot find historical data in this app, which is really annoying because that's one of the main reasons why you get a smartwatch, so you can track your training. You can do a couple of cool things. For example, you can control your music app from the smartwatch using, you know, you can use QQ Music, which is, I don't use it, or you can use Google Music, which I do use, which is actually pretty sick. And then you can have a couple of settings here, like raise the screen to turn on, you know, silent mode, non-silent mode, and finally app notifications, which works fairly well on the smartwatch. I'll show you a couple of notifications I got, you know, stuff like that. Keep the screen on. Some text I got from my friends also, so you can apply that as well. So yeah, it's decent. It's what you find in the smartwatch, and it's pretty decent. So what are my thoughts on the Zeblaze Thor 4? It's full Android, which, you know, I do give props to Zeblaze for putting full Android on a smartwatch. But I would say that the biggest deal breaker for well, there's two, but the biggest deal breaker, in my opinion, is the battery life. 7 hours of use throughout a day before it dies. That's absolutely no way. A smartwatch is supposed to last at least 1 day, which is really, really dumb. And I am very, very disappointed in that. The second thing that I'm really disappointed in is the there is no waterproofing, which means that if you use this inside, let's say the shower, it's going to completely stop working, which I don't recommend you do. And that's another reason why you should not get this smartwatch. So it's pretty expensive also. You're looking at something like $130, $140, which is really, really annoying. Yeah, so that kind of stuff, not good. It's really the most... The worst thing about the smartwatch would be the battery life and the lack of waterproofing. So I really don't recommend this watch. I recommend you get the Amazfit Bip instead, or the Amazfit Pace, or the Amazfit Pace 2. Any of those are going to work better than this. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to hit like and subscribe and hit the little notification bell to make sure you're notified of any of the latest videos that come up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.